Alrighty, Valkyrie Noelle has finally dropped on the global side of Black Clover Mobile, and today we're going to be talking about how to build this character to maximize her efficiency on whatever team you guys decide to put her on. So today we're going to talk about what skills you want to upgrade first, what skill pages you want to put on her, what gear you want to run on this character, whether or not you should try to pull for dupes to enhance her, what talents you want to do for her talent tree, and then of course last but not least, what teams is she going to fit well on? So let's start by talking about her LR passive. So her LR unique passive is that if there is one defender on the ally side, upon taking damage, grant self Sea Dragon Sphere. Once again, this is the passive you get for getting her to LR status, and this Sea Dragon Sphere can stack up to 4 times. So resets upon using skill 1 and special skill. If there are 4 stacks of Sea Dragon Spear upon attacking an enemy, attacks them after inflicting immortality removal on them. That is pretty dang good, okay? That immortality removal is very nice, and the Sea Dragon Spear can also give you more damage. So let's start by looking at skill 1. For every Sea Dragon Spear present on self, attacks after granting 40% increased damage dealt. So there's the extra damage on a defender type unit. That is pretty good. And then grants a 40% reduced damage taken buff to the ally with the highest all attack for 1 turn. So if you're running Noelle as your main attacker on your team, then she's going to give herself reduced damage taken with her skill. Meaning you don't necessarily have to build this character defensively, which I find really unique and really cool. So keep that in mind. Her skill 2, this is what makes her insanely good. Actually, all of her skills are really good when you get down to it. Okay, but her skill 2, Sea Dragon's Cradle, grants all allies a 10% reduced damage taken buff for 2 turns. That is without having it upgraded at all. When you upgrade it, you can obviously make it more, up to 30% reduced damage taken, which is very solid, and that lasts for 2 turns. That's insane. Additionally, grants all allies an increased crit resist level 2 buff for 2 turns. That increases their crit resist by 28%, meaning you're less likely to be critted, which is just going to help you survive more as well. And then last but not least, if you have her skill page, this is why I highly recommend you equip her skill page, grants all allies absolute territory for 2 turns. Okay, and what absolute territory does is it grants immunity to all status ailments and an SP plus 2 buff every turn to all allies. That is insanely good. And now when I say equip her skill page, you do actually have 2 options for skill pages for this character, which is pretty cool. We'll talk about that more when we get to skill pages though. And then last but not least, for the main skills, not including the combo skill, we have the ultimate special skill called Sea Dragon's Roar. For every Sea Dragon Sphere present on self, attacks after granting 75% increased damage dealt. That is insanely good. It's like a better version of skill 1, obviously, but it allows her to just nuke an enemy. It is so good. Attacks after inflicting barrier removal on the enemy as well, so you don't have to worry about barrier enemies either. Very good. And obviously you can see I have upgraded this skill because I plan on nuking. I will explain why this skill is one of the ones that you want to upgrade first here in a minute, but it's really good. And then the combined attack grants the partner mage invulnerability for 1 turn. This is also really good when paired with like Spirit Dive Uno, giving him invulnerability, allowing him to kind of pop off for you. This is one of the best combo skills in the game, but not because the combo skill itself is super insane, but because of what her enhanced passive will allow her to do. We'll talk about that more when we get to the enhancement. So you'll see this all start to come together as we go through this build guide here and why it's important to upgrade the skills I'm saying to upgrade. But basically, out of the skills here, it's hard for me to tell you which one you should upgrade first. I personally would go for the special skill, and then it's either a toss-up between the combo skill or the skill 2. What I can tell you is the skill 1 would personally probably be the last skill I upgrade because it's just giving you some extra damage, and I'm not that worried about that on skill 1. But skill 2 gives you extra reduced damage for the team, which is really good. And the combo skill, you might actually be using this quite a bit, so you're going to want to enhance the max amount of damage you can get with the combo skill, so you might want to upgrade this as well. Personally though, if I had to give you an exact order, I'd probably do special skill, skill 2, combo skill, and then skill 1 for upgrade priority on my skills. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below. That's just typically probably what I would do for this particular character. Now, in terms of skill pages, what should you be running on her? As I have already said, you should, if you can, be running one of her 2 skill pages on her. So there is the summonable skill page, which is this one. successor to the Steel War Princess. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you that absolute territory. And then it also, if Sea Dragon Spear is present on self, upon attacking, there is a 50% chance to inflict taunt on a random enemy for 1 turn, applies 2 times. And then additionally, you can upgrade this the skill page. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. You can upgrade this skill page to make it a 100% chance to inflict taunt. So that is really, really good. Now, if you don't have the summonable SSR skill page, there is a free-to-play option skill page that gives you the same passive right here of granting all allies absolute territory for skill 2. Your overall passive skill will just be different for the skill page. So let me show you guys what that is. So here is that free-to-play skill page. It is called the Leap of Valkyrie. You are able to get this through the Shadow Battle or from the rerun of the summer event with Vanessa, I do believe, from completing those missions and stuff like that. And so what this is going to do with the passive is increase chance of obtaining Yule by 1 to 10%, depending on how much you have it upgraded. And then additionally, like I said, you also get the absolute area effect on this skill page as well. So this one's like, you know, the free to play effect. We don't really care that much about the passive, but the big thing to have for Valkyrie Noelle that is really good is that absolute area. Like, you want that on her no matter what. There is literally no other skill page besides these 2 skill pages that I have shown you that you want on this character, because that is just so OP on her skill too. So you absolutely 100% need one of these 2 skill pages. If you really had to go for something else, I'd maybe go for like a skill page that increases your overall magic attack. But once again, I do not recommend anything outside of these 2 skill pages. Getting back into this here, let's talk about the gear you want to run on her. So this is the way I would personally build her gear set. I will explain why I am doing it this way. So very first off, you're going to want to build for 2 sets. You're going to want a gold attack set and a gold mobility set. Yes, I am building this character who is a defender type unit as an attack type character. It's really weird, but it works out fine because she gives so much damage reduction with her skill 2. Her skill 1 can also give her damage reduction. It's like insane, right? Her abilities make up for the fact that we're not really running defensive gear on her. So I am running this piece and I am running this piece right here. These 2 pieces are part of the gold attack set. And then for the gold mobility set, I am running this piece here. And then I'm also running that piece there. So these 2 pieces here, okay? That is why you are only able to have 2 sets, because you need big pieces, right, to take up some of those slots. If I tried to run a 3rd set, I would need another big piece slot, and I would run out of all these I wouldn't be able to have as many of these smaller ones here as I would like to. The reason we want more of the small squares here and we're going for these as opposed to 3 sets is because you are able to get more substats. The more pieces you have equipped to your character, the more substats you have, obviously, and that's going to help you out overall if you're able to get more magic attack substats to increase your Valkyrie Noelle's damage. So we are building this character purely towards magic attack. So if you look at all of these pieces, every single one of these pieces, their main stat is going to be magic attack. And then if you pay closer attention to them, you'll notice that on most of them, I have magic attack twice. I either have the % one or I have the regular magic attack increase. I would go for as much magic attack on this character as you can. And then besides that, I would probably go for like crit damage, crit rate, and then after that maybe I would go for like some defense / damage resist just for substats. So I do have some damage resist and defense. I have 2 magic attack ones here, right? So that's also a decent option. It doesn't hurt to give her a little bit of defense, right, to give her a little bit more survivability, but in general, because she gives herself so much from her skills, you don't have to worry about building her too much towards defense. You want to build her more towards magic attack to maximize her damage and really let her pop off. Once again, you're going to want to increase her crit rate and her crit damage if you can, just to really allow her to pop off. But I know it's weird. I know it's weird to build this character for attack, magic attack more specifically, when she is a defender type unit, but honestly, this is probably one of the best ways to build her. I will be doing a showcase in PvP so you guys can see how this works out, but it works out pretty dang well. And then for accessories, like, I don't really like going over accessories all that much because I know most people on Global don't have like a crazy amount of LR accessories, right? So just in general, run what accessories you can, but crit damage ones are always going to be decent, right? So crit damage, crit rate is what I have for those 2, and then I have just a defense one right there. I wouldn't worry about going too crazy with accessories, but the main thing is just make sure you're building the gear the right way. And one last thing, this is for newer players. Feel free to skip this if you are an older player. I want to talk about what gold sets are, that way you understand. So I said go for a gold attack set and a gold mobility set. If you go over here to grade and you go to set, you will see all the different potential sets in the game. We have an attack set, a defense set, a HP set, mobility set, all of these right here, right? Those are regular sets. They don't give as good of a stat boost as a gold set, okay? So gold sets have a gold star on them, and they look exactly the same. So gold attack set, gold defense set, gold HP set, gold mobility set, right? So the gold sets are always going to be better than regular sets. Try to equip gold sets when you can to increase your stats the most and help your character out the most, right? So that's what I mean when I say you want to go for a gold attack and gold mobility set. And that's pretty much how I would gear this Noelle. Now, in terms of enhancement, should you be trying to dupe her out? Well, if you can't tell already, I do have this character fully duped out, so that should be a good indicator that you guys are probably going to want to do the same if it is at all possible for you. But if you can only get her to 2 dupes, it's definitely worth it. If there is one defender on the ally's side, grants self-taunt removal at the start of turn. This allows you to attack who you want, which is nice, meaning you don't have to worry about attacking a defender, and if there is a enemy attacker type unit, you are able to now target them and potentially kill them with Noelle. Once again, because we're probably building her towards magic attack, so that'll help her out a bit. And then if you are able to get her to 5 dupes, right, you increase your crit rate and stuff like that, which is nice, but the bigger thing is the additional effect you get, okay? So if there is one defender on the ally side at the start of a turn, grants 30% increased mobility buff and an increased speed level 1 buff for 1 turn. Those 2 things put together makes her insanely fast, like one of the fastest characters in the game, like bar none. She's actually just insane. So getting her to 5 dupes is almost mandatory. I do highly recommend it because that is what's going to allow you to have the speed advantage over the enemies, and that's going to allow you to go first as this character, and you can potentially use your special skill to nuke somebody down. Or this is where the combo skill comes in. You can use the combo skill turn 1 before anybody else has gotten damage reduction on their team or anything like that, and you can use this with like Spirit Dive Uno, for example, and burst somebody down. Like, it's really, really good. So whether you go for the combo skill or the special skill, having her enhanced passive, having her to 5 dupes is actually very important because it's just going to help you get that first turn and help you potentially nuke somebody on their team, which can be very, very, very good. So should you enhance her? Absolutely, yes, go ahead and do it. Now, in terms of talents, there are a couple of different ways you could do this. I'm going to go just based on the normal talent tree, right? So magic attack I would go for plus 7%, increase her overall damage, right? And then you would go for stacking crit rate. You could also go for the option of damage dealt and crit damage, but I think overall increasing her magic attack is going to be the best. Now for the defense tree, you would obviously go for the plus 20% defense to give her more survivability. And then I would just go for the debuff immunity if her HP drops below 35%. And then for the support tree, I would go for the chance to reduce skill 2's cooldown because skill 2 is so insanely good, giving SP plus 2 to your team, giving status element immunity to your team. It's just really, really broken, right? So the more chances you have to use your skill 2, it's going to help you out. Also the damage reduction, I forgot to say that. It's just really, really good. So you want to make sure you are getting this one unlocked right away. And then besides that, I would probably go for damage resist. You could also go for accuracy and penetration. Like, either one is fine right here, honestly. Either way. As for talent stones, if you do not have the purple talent stones, right, I would probably go for a speed stone here, just a regular defense stone here, and a magic attack stone here. If you have the purple stones, those are a little bit better because they actually allow you to swap up where your things are placed here in the circle, allowing you to be a little bit more picky and choosy about how you build your talent tree. But just in general, for the basic talent tree, that is how I would build this character. And last but not least, let's talk about the potential teams that Valkyrie Noelle can fit on. So if I go down here to Team 10, this is kind of the base standard team that most people on JP and KR have been using with Valkyrie Noelle. And so you're going to be running her, obviously, like I've been saying, with Spirit Dive Uno. The combo skill goes insane. You have the damage reduction from Charlotte. You have the SP increase from Charlotte. You have the SP increase from Noelle. And then you run this Mimosa right here. You have the SP increase from her. It's just, it's really, really insane. So a lot of damage reduction between these two characters. You have the revive here. You have him doing his thing. You know, Spirit Dive, you know, doesn't really need an explanation if you guys have been using him at all recently. Just an insane overall team. This is like your bread and butter team right here. Now, Mimosa can be replaced with other characters. You can try different things. You know, there's plenty of other characters you could try. Like, just to give you guys some random examples of just anything you could throw in place of her, you could go for something like this. With William there, you could go for, I don't even know. Like, there's just so many things. Where's... I have him somewhere. Hold on, I gotta find him. You could try something like this. You could try something with Brill. You could do so much stuff. There's just literally so much you could do. You could do something with Ghost right here. You could just do so many different teams with this, right? So just keep that in mind. Try different things. Try things that work for you. But that initial team that I showed you right there, right? The team with Mimosa, I do think this team is probably one of the most good teams, one of the best teams to use, however you want to phrase that, right? This is one of the teams I would personally use when it comes to like PvP. It's a really, really good team. Now, another option you could run, I kind of went to it already, would be this team right here. So it's similar, except for now we're not running Spirit Dive Yuno. We are using her as the main DPS, like I mentioned earlier in the video, at the beginning of the video, that you could run her as your main DPS. And when she is your main DPS, she's going to give herself the damage reduction, which is kind of insane. And then you have the Blessing of Protection with her, you have the Invulnerability with her, you have her being able to give Invulnerability, you have damage reduction here, and then you can run someone like Ghost to just buff up Noelle if you wanted. You can run other characters too. You could run like where I can never find him. You could run the supporter William as well. He could give an extra boost of speed and stuff like that. He could be useful on Noelle just to give her more turns, allow her to get her stacks a little bit faster, stuff like that. There's plenty of supporter, different debuffer units you could try running in here. You could try running Zora if you really want to give some extra damage reduction, the counterattack, stuff like that. There's so many things. This character is so versatile, can literally be ran on pretty much any team you want in the game, but these are just two general teams that I would try to run her on. This one is more for like if you're going to use her as your main DPS, and this other team here is more for if you're going to run her like with another DPS who's going to be doing the damage. One last thing, you can actually switch out Spirit Dive Yuno if you wanted, and probably run like Julius. Julius would work well on this team as well. So Julius kind of comes back into the meta a little bit. So if you've been like, oh, I got Julius and I haven't even been able to use him because he went out of meta, well, he's kind of coming back in. So good news for you. But yeah, in general, that is the build guide for the new VALKYRIE Noëlle and the teams I put her on and stuff like that. So if you guys have any questions, drop them down in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button and hitting that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the channel. Peace.